The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have harmed us little, but someday the piecing together of disassociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality, in our frightened position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation, or flee from the light into peace and safety of a new dark age. H.P. Lovecraft. Long before the Age of Dark, there was the Age of Gold, a world born from the husks of empires, civilizations that had burned themselves to ash, waging endless wars in the name of progress. An era of discovery and revelation, where scholars sought to reshape humanity through reason, mathematics, and science. But in the brilliance of change came the limits of humanity, for ambition had teeth. And from those bright minds came the rot, which would spur forth calamity, knowledge twisted by greed and power hoarded by those who would deem themselves wisest among us. It was not long before kings became puppets, nations that soon bent the knee to the scholars playing as gods. And it was there, beneath the shimmer of gold, that the coil began to decay, and from their bellowed cries of anguish was born the pit of depravity, an age of dark. The horrors they birthed would be long buried in myth, and what came before the Age of Dark would soon be forgotten, save for the scant whispers in the halls of a once great observatory. What remains now are only stories, old tales that no one believes, legends of an age long gone. They call this world many names. To the north, Nexus. To the south, Gaia. To all who live within it, it is simply known as the Coil, a name born from ancient myths of death, of rebirth, and the endless turning of the world. Here is where your story begins, amid these ruins of the Coil filled with forgotten kingdoms and hungering gods. What now resides is a patchwork of lands and broken bastions, each one fractured and more isolated than the last, forced to starve and cannibalize each other in the acts of entropy. The death throes of civilizations, broken settlements and cities nested within this vast expanse of decay and corruption, each struggling to survive in their own right. What birthed the Age of Dark? A question unknown to many. To all known accounts, the epoch was the beginning of the collapse, an apocalyptic event that shattered the laws of physics and gave birth to something new, something terrible. The New Sphere, a storm of collective thought, ideas, belief, and nightmares made manifest. Reality itself became pliable in a constant state of flux as dreams were warped by the waking world. Faith became as dangerous as fire, all-consuming and transformative. Now the Coil is unstable, while its lands bleed into one another. Look towards the living forest of Avraxis with its scarlet fields of rot, birthing forth abomination and myriad. Look towards the plentiful dreams of man, which warp into twisted monstrosities in the wood. And feast your gaze upon the pits of hell, rising their unholy infernal lords, fit to consume the world in their familial conflict for dominance. The pike fields of human effigies in reverence to their ambition. The proof of convergence is everywhere, even to those who do not see it. The dead no longer stay dead. They crawl back from the grave, reshaped into things that should not be. Nightmares breach from the shriveled skulls of the dreaming to devour the minds of corpses. And under pale moons you can easily find strange figures dancing in the wood, whispering things that would make your blood run cold. Even the moon itself can drive one to madness, devouring the light within its ravenous pangs of hunger. There are no safe havens anymore, only walls and the desperate souls behind them. In these fallen cities, power belongs to those who can command it, a breeding ground for tyrannical and merciless and fanatical leaders. The purveyors, noble mercantile lords of the underworld who control sources of food, weapons, infrastructure, services, all things essential to life. And the Holy See, a church of zealots who parade around their tongueless saints, with their petrified husks nestled like a child to the womb within their gilded eggs. They listen to scripture of elders, they flay the flesh of non-supplicants, and burn the world in their crusade to purge the dark. Deeds in reverence to a supposed radiant voice from the heavens. And beyond them, past the corpse pits and the head-hunted pikes of beasts, deep within the blackened halls of the Lotus, is humanity's last bastion, where men become monsters themselves, reborn under a creed to gut the horrors among us. But you are different. You are a wayfarer, a pariah, a myth, chosen by the Arbiter once every few centuries for reasons no one understands. Where you walk, fate follows. As you tread upon your path, you bring fortune or ruin. You are feared, you are worshipped, and you are hated in equal measure. But all know this: you are powerful, a force unparalleled to challenge the gods themselves, should they exist, or to become one yourself. Would you be the hero, one to cull the fields of rot and aid in lighter forms of morality? Or would you become the harrowing blight, to spread forth corruption, breaking the world before you? In the wilds you will tread upon corpses of old beings of eld. You will find fetid towns steeped in madness, one sated and gorged on the fat of depravity and blind eyes. You shall discover machinations from the old world that still hum with forbidden life. And you shall meet horrors that bleed from realities not our own. You will fight, you will suffer, and you will endure, because this is the mortal coil, and in harvest you do not rise from the dark unbroken.